everyone. I'm Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom. This is for the week of December 2nd, all the way to the 9th. And we've got some pretty decent activity going on astrologically. This is actually a pretty big week, transitory wise. And I know, here's the thing though. I don't want to make this week feel or appear as if it's any bigger, better, worse, whatever than previous energies or previous weeks when nothing seems to be happening transitory wise. One thing I do want to say though is we're going to be feeling these shifts, these changes that are happening in our lives, and the evolution of life, the progress of life as it continues to call different circumstances to us to be able to meet whatever is showing up, hopefully in a habit or a pattern that serves, or if it doesn't serve, allows us to change it, to see it and say, okay, I need to change that habit. And what would that look like? So, but the big themes for the week, and I'll pull a card for us to meditate on. Big themes for this week. As I'm recording this, it happens to be on Monday, December 2nd. I'm a little late, so I apologize for anybody who is feeling that I've fallen behind. I forgive myself. I hope you forgive me as well. It was Thanksgiving here in the US. And so last week, and there was just so much activity going on. I didn't have actually much private time to be able to record. I had a house guest, and so that took away from my ability to be able to get some things done. It was just one of those crazy weeks leading up to Thanksgiving and then now today. So anyways, so here I am. It is December 2nd. I'm going to get Joan to release this video as soon as possible. But we've got Venus trining Uranus today. Venus is also now going to ingress into Aquarius this week, and Mars goes retrograde. These are big topics, big movements. It's kind of a Venus week. So all those Venus themes of what we value, our finances, our relationships, love, beauty, creativity, all those sorts of themes are here for us this week to look at, because Venus will also make an opposition to Mars when it starts to retrograde, but that'll happen at the beginning of next week. So things get a little spiced up when that happens. But again, the big themes of Mars retrograde in Leo all the way back through Cancer, through the late degrees of Cancer, and then it stations direct and moves back into the same degrees that it's been in Leo for the last couple of weeks. So these are just some things that we're going to be looking at, maybe get a feel for. We're coming off a new moon in Sagittarius. Hopefully you guys had time to set some intentions of positivity, having more hope and optimism in your life. That's a lot of the new moon energy, which I did share in my previous video. So hopefully that gave you a little touch point. All right, so let's pull a card for us to meditate on, to look at this week. I think it's going to be pretty in alignment with where we're at. So let's just see here as we shuffle. Okay. The Two of Wands. This is all about courageousness. At least that's the theme on the card. But really, the Two of Wands takes a spark of inspiration from like our new moon intentions and turns it into a clear action plan. So this week, we're going to be looking at creative ways with Venus involved here to be able to find some action plans, put some action into place so that we can start to manifest it. And we're wanting to explore our options with this Two of Wands, carefully plotting out the path ahead, counting for all the possibilities, potential changes, and challenges. I personally love this method that I discovered. I can't remember the name of the individual who came up with it, so I can't give credit to that individual. I want to, but I didn't come up with it. It's called the WOOP method, WOOP, and it has to do with an acronym that stands when you're putting a plan together, that you look at what it is you want. What's your wish? What's that outcome that you're wanting to manifest? And then that first O are your options. What options do I have in order to manifest it? And then the second O is the obstacles. What might show up that would prevent this thing, this wish, to be manifested? And then the P is the plan in place when or if those obstacles come up, as well as the plan or the roadmap for manifesting. Keep this in mind about the manifestation energy. Where we place our attention long enough, we start to manifest it, right? That's why it's important. There's nothing wrong with thinking what we think, and not every thought is manifested, thank goodness. But if we keep perpetuating it and we focus on it, we obsess over it and all of that, then eventually it is something that can show up, and who knows how, it just does. So this Two of Wands is inviting us to explore options, to put a plan in place, to really start looking at manifesting and seeing what is necessary, what obstacles we may have to overcome, that sort of thing. And so meditate on that. I think it's really important, especially if you've set those new moon intentions. So I mentioned again that Venus was trine Uranus today. We'll keep feeling some of that energy. Think back to August. The last time that Venus made a trine to Uranus, Venus was in Virgo. Well, now Venus is in Capricorn, so the energy or the theme's a little bit different, but it's still very similar with that Uranian influence, in the sense that we're going to want to think out of the box, think differently, get creative, that sort of thing. And with Capricorn energy, we might want to get creative with how we can have more usefulness or purposefulness in our relationships, or how do I take some money maybe that was given to me and put it to good use now? Or this is such a social time for us during the holiday season, with work parties or with family and friends and travel and all that, that maybe this is a time where you want to try something new, something different. Maybe something non-traditional may pop up that creates a new tradition moving forward with your friends and families for the holidays, right? Could be something like that. Now, Venus is going to ingress into the sign of Aquarius this week as well. So when Venus is moving through Aquarius at the very beginning, because Pluto's at the early degrees of Aquarius, that's going to make a conjunction, which is a hard aspect. The reason it's a hard aspect is that when two planets come together and they canoodle, as I like to call it, it creates this lens, if you will, almost like you're back to back. You're next to each other, but you can't see the other person's face, right? So if somebody's standing behind me or whatever, their heads are together, I can't, they could be making all kinds of mean faces, silly faces, whatever. I can't see them, but we're both acting in our own individual way here in this Aquarius nature. But I don't know if I'm going to be more focused on my Venusian qualities or if I'm going to be focused on the Plutonian qualities. And so here they're together, and it may stir up some really powerful emotions around how we feel about being individual in our relationships. We may also find that we want to be more social, more outgoing, and yet still be able to be our own eclectic self within all of our different social circles as well. And so with Pluto here, it could create this real magnetism for more social activity. If you're a recluse or you're an introvert, this could be really challenging. If you're an extrovert, you may find yourself flitting and floating everywhere and exhausting your adrenals and not realizing it, right? So those are some of the shadow sides of it. But as Venus moves through the sign of Aquarius, we may find a lot of uniqueness coming out, the ways in which we express ourselves. If you're single and you're looking for love, this is a time where you may attract somebody who's very unusual, somebody who's not your typical type, you know. You might really get stimulated and be attracted to someone because of the connection that you have intellectually. They're stimulating, they're intelligent, they can, you know, have all kinds of many colorful conversations, and that could be very inviting and very alluring, you know. Also, if you are in a bonded relationship, this is a time where you guys get to be more social, and you get to flit and float around the room, and all these various friendships become really important. And if you're in this in-between space where you're not single, you think you're kind of bonded, but you're not quite sure where the relationship is going, well, this is a time where your friendship, the foundation of that connection, could turn into something more than just friends, right? Deeper in that sense. But really what we're looking for is we're looking for that freedom to be ourselves without any form of control or clinging, that is a big turnoff for Venus in Aquarius. If someone is coming in to criticize, judge, and not allow you to be who you are. Aquarius wants equality for everybody. Everyone's free to do their own things and be of benefit to everyone. So now let's talk about Mars retrograde in Leo. So Leo is all about confidence, and Mars gives us that extra boost of confidence, but too much of it is not the best look. So those are some things that could show up where we start to internalize, what am I worth, and how do I share all these wonderful things that are happening for me without it looking like I'm boasting or bragging, right? It may also cause us to, as we internalize, to start criticizing ourselves more because we don't feel worthy. So be careful about that. But while confidence is high, then emotions might be spinning around too. Mars in Leo loves attention. So maybe it's a good opportunity to turn, with the retrograding planet, to turn our emotions and attention onto ourselves and give ourselves a little bit more TLC, a little bit more self-care, especially if we are over socializing, if we're overstimulated during these holidays. I will say, with Mercury retrograde still, and now Mars retrograde, travel, transportation, all those things could stir up a lot of emotions where people will start an argument for no reason, or they're just actually overly irritated more than usual. And then, of course, that creates problems. I think back to the football game this last weekend, where Ohio State lost to Michigan, and Michigan came into, they were playing at Ohio State. Michigan, one of the people in the audience came in and took the flag and stuck it into the Ohio State's field. And of course, this whole melee ensued, and there's pepper spray and all that. And quite frankly, my personal opinion is that was rude. It was disrespectful to the home team, that you can celebrate and be happy without being that bombastic. And that is a perfect Mars in Leo shadow example. And so again, something like that, or if we're, with family's a great trigger for us, right? If they say something and we take it personally, we feel judged, or maybe we're around, negative people, that sort of thing, and they just won't shut up, then we have a tendency to just turn around and lash out. So I think there's going to be some of that could show up for us if we're not careful. Because remember that Mars is going to retrograde in Leo, but then all the way back into the late degrees of Cancer as well. And so Cancer is all about home and family and where we belong. So I think there's going to be family members or home feeling threatened, things like that may stir up a need to fight, a need to stand up for what we believe in. I think some of that may be showing up. Just pay attention to things like that. The Mars retrograde energy is not always an easy one. I remember the last Mars retrograde, it was actually in Leo as well. No, excuse me, it was in Gemini. And that was 2.5 years ago. And I remember I had a friend want to start a project with me. And I knew, even when I said, okay, I knew it wasn't going to last, and it didn't. It went all of about 3 months, and then it fell away because of, valid reasons. But it was just one of those where I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. So do be careful with what you are, when you're looking at starting anything new during any planet's retrograde. It often has to be redone, or it falls flat before it starts, or there's some things that get revealed over time that you may have to make major adjustments to. And Mars is no different. And so a lot of this energy with Mars, right, it's about motivation. We may feel impulsive. It's the things that motivate us. It's the things that energize us, things like that. Now, one of the other things that I would say with Mars is that, in this Mars retrograde, is that it could stir up a lot of moodiness, especially when it retrogrades back into Cancer. Try not to let those mood swings dictate major decisions during this time. It's not a great time to make those kinds of decisions. It's a time to, because I can tell you the blood will boil. Those are very Martian energies. that our blood can boil, and then we can say and do things that we don't always mean, or we have great regret afterwards. So please be careful with that. Do follow your intuition and just pay attention to the different themes, like especially because of Leo starting off, the energy of I haven't manifested what my heart desires. And these holidays have a tendency with have expectations that push us that direction too, of like, here it's the end of the calendar year and I haven't manifested this yet, and I don't have that, or my heart really, I'm not doing the work I want to do. And so a lot of frustration and disappointment, anger, things like that can show up. So please be gentle, gentle, gentle with ourselves during this time, gentle with others, finding that compassion. This energy, the way to use it positively is to, like I say, stand up for something that is important, something that you believe in, something that has value to you, hopefully that doesn't create harm for another, and maybe be the voice for someone who doesn't have a voice, or be the heart and soul of something that others need in order to align with, in order to feel hope for the future, in order to do good work in the world. These are ways that we can use it for good. Okay, you guys, I really hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com when to listen. I look forward to connecting with you. Have a great week.